the ocean truly has been a place for me, a place of refuge, a school, a place for me to learn, but as well, a place for me to play, my playground, open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I truly believe that I am who I am because of this environment and because of these choices I make around this environment. And so being able to share with other people how they could see the ocean and the wind as not a part of them. Because the more that we can see our environment around us as a part of us, something that brings joy to our life, something that benefits our livelihood, the more we can embrace that responsibility to care for it, to be one with it, and to be a voice for our voiceless friend, being the ocean and the environment. And so, and that's a big reason you mentioned before, our Kahi Foundation for the Inzane Supergroms. This is my kids programs we started back when I was a young teenager, and it really came from this sensation that I was struck with. I was struck with a pretty real feeling that what I was doing was very selfish, and I was maybe 17 years old when I realized this, 16, and I was going to Lobitos for the World Championships of windsurf wave riding. And this town that we were making our way through all these towns before we got to our destination that were poverty-stricken kids with no clothes on their backs, just playing in the dirt with a can. And I remember this moment driving by in the van, or the big bus we had with all the competitors, and we were just flying through this small town, not even a cement road, bouncing around. And I remember looking out the window and seeing these two kids. One was kicking a can in the dirt, and the other one was just sitting there in the ground watching his friend. And behind them are these beautiful lefts just reeling down the coast, and it was this surreal moment where it's like, here I am balling on someone else's budget as a young teenager, going to compete, not a worry in my head. And then I see this scenario where right in front of me, there's these two kids with not much in their eyes as far as, excitement or joy or even a sense of, I don't know, you call it soul. And right behind them are these freaking beautiful peeling waves just grinding down the coastline, side offshore, picking the lip up, throwing it out to sea. And I'm looking at these kids thinking, oh my God, I wish they knew. I wish they could experience the beach and ocean as I do.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in a very fortunate household. My parents drove me to the beach. I had equipment to practice on. And I know that even in my community on Maui, not every kid is as lucky, and especially around the world, regardless of finding someone who could teach you or to take you to the beach or to the water, some people just don't have access to equipment, or even in this situation for those kids in Peru, they didn't even know that was a place that they could have fun. Like, it was just back there. It was this big empty pool of water that their parents told them to stay away from. Because, and that's what I learned that trip was, most kids learn from their families in those beach communities to stay away from the water, because it's not benefiting the work ethics. It's not benefiting the family unless you're a fisherman. And it brings a danger for kids being lost to the ocean each day, because a lot of families out there, they're living close to the beach and maybe they're out working and the kids roam to the water. And so I remember that trip being really inspired to get a group of kids together. And we talked to the event organizer, and we got a local school. We got two local schools, one for alternatively abled children and one just a young group of totally abled kids. And we got a few of the other competitors to donate their time as well, and we taught kids how to swim before we could even get them on a stand-up paddleboard or a windsurfer, and we held them in the shore break and kind of gave them the basics of, you know, they could stand up and not just have to rely on swimming if they're in less than waist deep water inside the waves. And then we went out having fun on paddleboards and pushing them into waves without the paddle so they could surf. And by the end of this 4-hour clinic, I remember looking back and seeing kids smiling, laughing, throwing water and sand at each other, riding these surfboards. And I couldn't take them home with me. I left almost everything I brought with me that trip. You know, from surfboards, stand-up paddle boards, clothes, like all the clothes I brought. And you know, I'll never forget, though, that trip changed my life for sure. And sure enough, I went on to win that event. One step forward, 2 steps backward, as they say it in life. You know, I was caught up in my ego still, even after that selfless experience and being enlightened with that experience. And I went out partying way too hard. I was only 17 years old, 16, something like that. And I fell off a cliff, and I died for 8 minutes. My brother said. My brother was there with me, and he took, you know, it was after the award ceremony. We were all finished. We were celebrating and having a great time, and we went up to the sea cliff to 4-wheel drive our Jeep, and you know, there's no one around. We thought we were safe driving our Jeep on the beach. But then I fell off this cliff and fell 30 feet to my death. And my brother had to hike around to get to my lifeless body. He said it took him at least 5 minutes to get to me. And then he started performing CPR with the group we were with, you know, some of our friends and competitors. The lifeguard of the event was there with us. And so he was there to take turns doing CPR. And my brother damn near almost gave up. He said, you know, pounding on my chest for 5 to 8 minutes, and I ended up coming back to the present moment. And I remember seeing my brother, my older brother, my friends, competitors crying over my lifeless body. And it was a really interesting situation because I didn't know I went away. I didn't know I left, you know. But I came back with a very strong sense that my life is valued and that I can't be taking for granted my fortunate situation, and I need to share it and uplift as many people along my journey as I can. And it was a clear message I had as soon like I opened my eyes and just seeing a stupid action result in the people I care most about, you know, crying over me. And I remember thinking, okay, well, I need to uplift my community environment moving forward. And that was my learning experience from that, is that I was being consumed in ego in a sense where I didn't have a strong enough purpose, you know. And now after that near-death experience, coming back, it was real clear what my purpose was, you know. Like immediately I'm here still to this day because I know whatever divine or God out there wants me to continue my journey and uplift my community environment along the way. And so that is my driving purpose each day is, you know, to be my best I can be and create my most stable platform possible so that I can influence more people and bring the attention to the health of our oceans, because not many people get to spend every day in the ocean and see the changes that happen each day. As you would notice the personalities and emotions of a friend that you work with every day change. You notice your work friend coming to your workplace and then they're different and they're sad and they're depressed, you know, I damn hope you're gonna reach out to them and see how you can help. And not many people have that connection with our oceans to know at all that our oceans are in a state of emergency. You know, I'm only 28 years old, but I spend the majority of my life in the ocean, and I've seen classes of marine life completely vanish away from these islands, you know, and I've seen, fish that we used to catch to put food on the table for our family. It's a lot harder to bring fish in now, and so it's there's things that we learn from being ocean athletes and ocean guardians that can translate into our everyday life. I think it's important for everyone to have a taste of that, to have that power of choice as well.